Hi and good evening. This is Laila Hishaw, Dr. Hishaw. I'm here again with our third episode of Founder Fridays, and I am so excited to be on to share a wonderful conversation with a good friend of mine that I hope that will really be enlightening and inspiring. But a little bit about me for those of you who I have not had the pleasure of meeting or haven't seen my lives before. I am a pediatric dentist. I have been practicing for over 20 years. I'm a mother of three, and I am the founder of Diversity in Dentistry Mentorships, which is a nonprofit with a mission to really increase the diversity in dentistry by reaching our underrepresented minority youth to explore dentistry through mentorships, and to also educate them and empower to even to know more about the profession, and then also to provide valuable mentorships to our pre-dental students. And of course, like most organizations that's founded, that founder is very passionate about the subject, the people, and everything that it takes to build this up. And so I felt that going through this process, and I'm still learning as I go, because it is new, it's a startup, that I thought having conversations with other founders would be helpful to those of you who are thinking of starting a nonprofit or a social enterprise. And so it's with these conversations that I hope it sparks you to make the next step. And with that, I want to introduce my guest, who's also a very dear friend of mine, and her name is Naomi Guerrero. She is the founder of M.A.R.I.A, Mothers Against Racism in America. So I am going to bring her in. See. Hello. So let's ask you to join. All right. Coming on, and then I can tell you a little bit more. And you should just be able to select it, Naomi, when you see it coming through. And there's my beautiful friend. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. This is pretty exciting. I've never done a live before.
I know. Girl, I'm still figuring it out. I'm like, I'm not this Gen Zs. I really know what I'm doing. But let's say hi to everyone. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Leslie. She's one of our co-founders as well.
Hi, Leslie.
Carly, thank you all for joining us. And two, as I always say, if you have a question, a comment, throw it down and we'll try to get to it. But yes, let's start. Let's start from the beginning, because I know a lot of people will catch this on the replay. But Naomi, we have become friends since she moved to Tucson. It's been a little bit over a decade. Can you believe that? But no. I know you are, one of these data analysts, strategists, experts in this arena. You're a not project manager, but a manager for reporting with IBM, right? And
that's right.
Did I get it right? You're also, of course, a mother of two just dear, wonderful, gracious, kind young men, little boys that we are raising as a village together, right? Mm-hmm. And a wife, and of course, a dear friend. And I just wanted to set the stage just a little bit, then of course you can share, what was going on in your mind. But M.A.R.I.A came about, well, I think so, and you can share, but it was, of course, after the tragic murder and death of George Floyd, which was May 25th of this year. All of us were just really trying to figure out what was happening and how we were feeling. And I know, girlfriends are so important to me and my sisterhood, that we were just reaching out to each other by text. I mean, I remember texts going back and forth because we have that circle of girlfriends who, we lean on all the time. And, we were saying things of, my heart hurts. I can't focus. I can't believe this. What about our babies? Are we safe? And what are we going to do? And I looked it up, Naomi. I still had it on my phone. I found that text on May 29th, and you said, same. I feel the same. But I wrote down, I feel purpose coming on, though. Stay tuned. And so we're like, all right, Naomi, what are we going to do? And we were all on board. So, tell us, share with everyone about, that moment and a little bit of where you were coming from with that.
So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. Just hearing you speak about where we've started and the reasons that this group has sort of come about, I'm starting to well up because those feelings and emotions just instantly come back. But as you stated, after the death of George Floyd, on top of COVID-19, I think the world was literally sitting still, right? And in that stillness, we were forced to examine ourselves, and we didn't like what we saw, right? From a societal perspective. And I felt like I don't want my children to be George Floyd. So what can I do? How can I channel this energy that I have for change into something good, to make change for my children? And so then we started, we were texting back and forth, and we started gathering. And I knew at that moment, I think it was the second or third meeting that we had, that we were onto something, because the energy was there, the energy for change, the energy for pain. We shared and supported one another, but the energy on our calls was there, as well as in the streets with the protesters. That was still going, and it's still going today. So there's definitely, I felt that there was a need that needed to be filled.
Yeah.
And that's how M.A.R.I.A was born, essentially. How can we cultivate change for our children? Because when you think about systemic racism, trying to attack it is just too overwhelming. It's too many broken pieces. But what can we do as a group, as individuals even, to take small steps to make change? And I think that's kind of where we are today. That's how we're going to make change.
Yeah, and it's definitely making that positive change. I remember when you shared President Obama's blog, when he had his blog on the turning point and how to make change, and it was really just provided a guide for us, because you're like, let's just get together and look through the kit. Let's look through the toolkit and how to make the positive change. Because I remember us discussing, not all of us are going to go out in a protest, and that's not where our strengths lie. How can we tune into our highest contribution? You're like the strategy expert, and you have the leadership skills there to guide us by, the research and the resources, and how we get the allies involved to help, because it's not just our problem, right?
Right. I'm not the perpetuator of racism. I mean, if I'm being blunt and honest about it, I didn't create this problem, right? But what I can do is try to educate and inform our allies, which, by the way, I have so much hope with the allyship that I'm seeing. There's something different about this moment. I see a lot of non-Black people really standing with us and behind us to move this forward, to eradicate and eliminate racism. And so I have so much hope for the future for that reason, right? If you look at the demographics of the individuals that continue to protest, that stand with Black Lives Matter, it's just a myriad of cultures and races, and that just makes me feel so wonderful, right?
Gives us hope. Are you surprised? I mean, we are sitting on a very life-changing election that could be coming up in the next 4 days. Are you surprised that we're still grappling with all this racial injustice and equality?
I think it's 2020. I think I wouldn't characterize how I'm feeling as surprised. It would be disappointment that we are continuing to come back to this space, that racism is still a pervasive issue in America and actually all over the world. If you were to look at an image of the 1965 Selma marches and compare it to images of protests that happen today, you will see very little difference. The parallels are the same. We're marching for the same purpose, racial equity and equality. And, we're still requesting the same sort of civility, right, and equality. So I wouldn't call it a surprise. Voter suppression. I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed, tired, exhausted, sad. I mean, I don't know how else I can describe it.
I know.
So,
they just have to
but we're making change. We're making change slowly.
Yeah, I think for the audience too, is can you tell us a little bit more what you mean by microactivists, because tell me, the mission and vision of MARIA is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that just makes my heart smile when you say microactivism, but I'll get to that story later. So, Maria Moms is a support group of microactivists, like-minded moms committed to dismantling systemic racism in American schools, striving for diversity and inclusion and social justice. So a bit about the microactivism. Shout out to our founder, one of our founders, Don.
Don.
Don, shout out to Don. We were all on a call trying to figure out what is this that we are doing here. This is now the third or fourth meeting. We are all juggling 15 balls in the air with our jobs, our businesses, our children, our marriages, and so on. So the word activism sounds a little overwhelming right now to add to the balls that I'm already juggling. But when you put micro on it, and Dawn said it, she said micro activism, there was a collective, oh, yes, that's what it is, right? When you put micro activism to it, these are those small day-to-day changes that you can make or those actions that you can take for big impact. Right. So this is where we have an ally go speak to her superintendent or her child's educator around updating the curriculum to include multicultural education. Something so simple, right, will impact an entire classroom. You see, so that's a small action, but big impact, right? So
we got a lot more doing it everywhere around the world.
I know.
Well, has this always been in your heart, this fire, this activism? Or did that come about after becoming a mother?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think so. Growing up in Oakland, there's always this energy to be of service for your people. But also, I feel as though being raised by strong, just Black women who own the ground that they stood on, I didn't really come into this activism until I had kids, right? It's that sort of that mama bear. Mama bear, like, wait a minute, don't touch my cubs, right? So I would say that I really didn't step into it until my children were born. And then, I could process these little microaggressions that they would experience. Like I said, I was raised by strong Black women. And so, I think we're taught to just keep moving, right? Keep moving, put all that aside. Don't process the feelings that you're having. Just move ahead, move forward. Just in general, that's what is ingrained. At least that's what was ingrained in me. When I see it happening to my children, that's a different situation. Then I need to step into what's happening and figure out how I can change it, right? So,
and it's suffice to say that we're in Tucson, Arizona, where the African American population is quite low, and so most of our kids are predominantly white institutions and schools, and so when you say those microaggressions that are happening, people are surprised when we say, yes, this happened to my own children, and because there's the sense that we're successful Blacks, then we've achieved, we're fine, and everything's okay, and your kids must be just fine. It doesn't affect them, So I was surprised by those comments that I was getting when we were all having this reckoning of race and how we are all affected.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said there's this assumption that when you achieve a certain academic level of education that somehow these issues disappear, and that's just not the case. In fact, you're moving in spaces where there's unfortunately less minorities or people of different backgrounds, and so therefore you're experiencing it at a different level, but you're still experiencing it, right? So yeah, that's unfortunate, and we just need to continue to work towards improving the situation.
Yeah, and so you have we have the website, MariaMoms.org. And tell us
Yes.
about that. It's like a fishing blog, community that you're building. Tell us, what's your hope and vision with the blog?
Yeah, so the website is in its infancy stages. I envision it to be a place where mothers can go and engage with one another to ask questions around race and racial equity, share resources with one another. I think with the election, everyone has just been so kind of tuned into what's going on with the election, but once that is over and done with, I would hope that we can start building up more engagement on the website. We have quite a few members that have joined and subscribers. When I look at the data and analytics, because that's where I live, I can see that the engagement happens not even just in the United States, but also international. So in Canada, South America. So, there's interest abroad. And so I'm hoping that the resources that we share and the engagement will just start that dialogue, right? Between moms, because I feel like we're so powerful. We have so much opportunity. We're with our children, and our children are the future. So we have an opportunity to teach them.
And it's a great hub to know where to come to for resources, right? And just to share, because you can leave comments or ask questions. And I think that's amazing. So, definitely, I hope that we, well, of course, we're going to reach lots of mothers, but there may be some moms from this, conversation and be, well, I want to get involved. What's the first step? What does that look like for me to be a member or a member of the community? It's not a paid membership or anything.
There's no membership fees. Like I said, it's a support group. There's no cost involved. Any sort of resources we have available are free. And to kind of segue into what you had mentioned, what does it look like to get involved? Definitely join the community. But beyond that, if there are mothers that are listening that are interested in, how can I teach my children to be anti-racist? Because first of all, racism is a learned behavior. Children are not born with that, right? That's a learned behavior. But
Everybody,
I would say, they're not. Well, that's right. I would say I would encourage, allies and moms interested in learning more to really take the time and, engage with multicultural friends, right? And learn about them and ask questions, right? I'm almost certain they will not get offended, right? That is the only way that your children will feel encouraged to do the same, right? So reach out to someone of a different background, a different race than you. Don't be afraid to do that and to learn more. We're all people, right? We all same for our children, right? To be successful. So
that's so true. I think that's so great. Yeah, it really will make the world a better place.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
So no, is there there's a few ways we can connect with Maria, right? Through your LinkedIn. We're on Instagram as well.
Yep.
And so will we have speakers, or what else? What's in store for Maria coming up after the election?
So after the election, at the end of November, we will post information about our next call. We will continue to update the website with additional resources around podcasts that you can listen to, books that you can read or listen to on Audible, interviews that you can check out, just to engulf yourself in information, right? Because that's the way when you become informed as a mother, you can then inform your children, and the cycle can stop, right? The racism cycle can stop. But so our month, you can check out our website for our next call, which will be the end of this month. We'll be scheduling that soon.
Oh, I think that's great. Yes, because we really can't just keep going to the fact that I just didn't know. You can't just play the ignorance and to forgive that. Is that the resources are out there, people are out there. to have a conversation. And that's why I appreciate this conversation so much, so that it will, you know, spark the next conversation with someone else or between your friends. And it's just so we can all kind of come together, because definitely this nation needs some healing and friendships and relationships. And it really does start at home, because the mothers have so much power with, you know, what they're sharing with their family. So I think that's great. Is there anything else you wanted to share? Let me see if anybody had any questions at all.
Yeah, I think the thing I would like to share is really kind of put a button on the point around how important a multicultural education is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage everyone on the call that's listening to have conversations with your children's educators, principals, staff, and so forth around including multicultural education. That is literature, text, authors, right? Because what happens is that cultivates, you know, mutual respect, right, for other cultures. That teaches your children to better interact with them. And it also cultivates the desire for them to learn about people who don't look like them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just imagine, you know, being, you know, a brown person
Mm-hmm.
sitting in the classroom where the hero is always white.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How does that make you feel? How are you internalizing that? It's almost unfair, right? So what children are learning about should be multicultural in the sense that they need to feel a sense of pride. All kids need to
Right,
feel a
yeah.
sense of pride in what they're learning, so that the representation is there and they can see themselves as that hero, right? Because they're out there. They just
Yeah.
need to learn about them.
You can't believe it if you don't see it. Yeah. Yeah.
That is
And
so true.
anything that we're trying to diversify, and diversity in dentistry, I hear that all the time, right? I didn't know I
Yes.
could do that. I can believe it because I haven't seen it and grow up with it.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Exactly.
And Chica Intelligente has a great question. Yeah, who are some of the partners you've connected with thus far, and some upcoming partners that we're targeting?
Yeah, so I have connected with a group called Future Allies. I've known the founder for many years, so that was an easy connection to make.
Mm-hmm.
Futureallies.com or .org, you'll have to forgive me, but it's an excellent hub for resources as well. There is some engagement around or discussion around racial equality, as well as some of the other topics we touched on. So that's a group that I would recommend you reach out to. And then in the future, I can foresee a lot of partnerships in the future brewing.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a busy, busy, busy mom, and I know that what you're doing, they are seeing and what they're learning, and you are modeling for them the importance of standing up for what you believe in, using your voice for good, and making the world a better place, Naomi. And you know,
Mm.
I care so much about you and our circle of friends, and I'm just like so happy just to be a part of it. I'm so glad you brought us together, and we're making that small little ripple.
That's
And
right.
hopefully reach
That's
out.
right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Layla.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
absolutely. And before I let you go, because you're doing so much and balancing working as a working mom, homeschooling, while you're working remotely, how do you keep it
God,
all together? How do you keep it all together?
I don't. No, I'm just kidding. Joking. You
Let's be
know
real.
what? Just like everyone else, I use, there's a number of tools that I use,
Mm-hmm.
just calendars and journals. And I have to have a whiteboard
Mm-hmm.
with a weekly to-do list. I'm a visual person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm literally checking things off, you know, throughout the week.
Your list.
I just work better that way for our family. I know at work we use Trello.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tool that you can use for free. It's for project management, but
Yeah.
I like to see it on a board.
You got to see it, got to see it. And we have to have that vision that we're going to have a better
Yeah.
America for our families. And
Right.
we're going to make this part of your to-do list as you're going through your schedule, everybody, to make this. We have to be intentional to make this
Yes.
change. You just can't just let it, everyone else is going to figure it out, or it doesn't have anything to do with me. And so thanks for taking that step and making the charge for all of us. And I just want to thank you again, and we will keep this up, and hopefully people can come back to it as a replay. And again, everyone, you can learn more about Maria Moms on the website at mariamoms.org, on LinkedIn at Maria, Mothers Against Racism in America, and on Instagram at Maria_moms, right? And then also, I'll invite you guys to visit my website at Dr. Laila Hishaw to get some resources and talking about productivity tips and apps and things. I have a free resource guide that you're welcome to take a look at that helps me keep things in order. We're just trying to design that life, Naomi, so we can make the world a better place, just one little micro-activist step at a time.
That's right. That's right.
Micro step at a time. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish you guys all well. And as always, smile always. Bye.
Thank you, Layla.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for joining.